You can certainly put your noodles in as they are, nice and soft, but crisping them up is really a big deal, I think. Look at that. Hi everybody, it's Bill from The Walks of Life, and today we're gonna make beef chow mein, one of the most iconic and delicious dishes that you can order when you go into a restaurant. You got beef and you got some mixed vegetables and you got Hong Kong pan-fried noodles. And the reason why these noodles are so good is because they're thin, they're a little chewy, fried in the wok until slightly crispy. Everything comes together in wok, gives you a little wok hay. Maybe you can even generate a little bit of that wok hay at home. It's always a crowd pleaser, and I'm gonna show you how easy it is to do today. And today's video is sponsored by Lee Kum Kee, better known in Cantonese circles as Lee Kum Kee. So here's what you need to make beef chow mein. You need 12 ounces of beef, a clove of garlic, some scallion, carrot, some mushrooms. Today we're using fresh mushrooms, but yes, you absolutely could use dried shiitake mushrooms or fresh shiitake mushrooms. We've got some snow peas, bean sprouts, and of course, Hong Kong style pan-fried noodles. You can also use dried noodles, and they come in these little cute bundles here. You're gonna use half of the amount. And these noodles, since they are dried, are gonna cook for longer than 30 to 60 seconds. They're gonna probably cook for a few minutes. As far as sauces, we've got some Shaoxing wine, sesame oil, white pepper, got some oyster sauce, soy sauce, which today we have Lee Kum Kee premium soy sauce and Lee Kum Kee premium dark soy sauce, and we also have Lee Kum Kee oyster sauce. Lee Kum Kee has actually been making high quality sauces since 1888. Lee Kum Kee makes a naturally fermented soy sauce with no artificial preservatives, which is not true for all other soy sauces. You can find it virtually anywhere. You can find it at big box stores, selected grocery stores. You can find it online, even at Amazon.com. And of course, you could find it at your local Chinese or Asian grocery store. So if you're trying to stock your Chinese pantry, or if you're just trying to pick up a bottle of soy sauce, you might be a little confused when you go to the grocery store and you see all these types of brands, but Lee Kum Kee is always going to be a high quality choice. They make a seasoned soy sauce, they make gluten-free soy sauce, they make any kind of Chinese sauce that you're looking for. Now I'm going to prep the vegetables. Now Judy has done a very nice job here picking off the tips and cleaning these snow peas. We're using fresh mushrooms today. We're going to slice them, probably about 1/4 of an inch thick. Now these carrots, half a large carrot. Now just going to smash that garlic. Just give it a rough chop. Now I put everything on a plate so it's very accessible at the wok. So you want to put this garlic in a little pile. And the way I'm going to cut these scallions is I'm just going to cut them at a long angle here. So you get a nice surface area. So here you go. Our plate is all ready to go to the wok. Now this is a flank steak here, and I know these days beef is super expensive. If you don't want to use flank steak and you want to try looking for another cut of beef, you could use some London broil. There's some creative ways to actually get a good cut of beef from a chuck steak even. So be sure to check out our post and our YouTube video on how to velvet beef, where we give you tips and tricks on how to select your beef for stir fry. Now usually we make it into slices, but today we're going to cut it into strips because we got a noodle dish. So I want strips that are about 1/4 inch thick and 3 or 4 inches long. So what I'm going to do is cut this in half and slice it this way so that I have a thin piece. And then I'm just gonna put them on top, and make sure that you're cutting across the grain. This is a little bit long, but you can actually cut it off a little bit like this and alternate, and then you'll get these little short strips of beef. This is what you're getting. These are a longer piece. So I'm gonna do the same thing for this other piece. All right, so at the end, I got a few thick pieces here. You could just leave it, or if you feel like the pieces are a little bit too thick, you can slice them in half. Okay, we've got a big bowl of beef and we're ready to velvet it. This one looks like, to me, it has $1 extra beef. Actually, more like $2 extra. Today we're gonna use our shortcut velveting method. We're gonna put 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. Then we're gonna add to it 1.5 tablespoons of water. Now next, 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce, teaspoon of Shaoxing wine, and we're gonna use today premium dark soy sauce because it's a beef noodle dish. So we want it to have a little bit of a rich, dark color to it. So we got 1 teaspoon of dark soy sauce, got a teaspoon of neutral oil, which adds a nice richness to the beef. And last but certainly not least, we've got a teaspoon of cornstarch. And we're gonna mix everything together. I got some water at the bottom, and this gets everything nice. Now look at that nice, dark, rich color and flavor. Next, we're gonna make the sauce. What you need is 1 tablespoon of hot water. And the reason why I call for hot water is because our next ingredient is sugar, and I wanna make sure that the sugar is dissolved. So we're gonna put a 1/4 teaspoon of sugar in there, a tablespoon of Shaoxing wine. And a lot of times you add this directly to the wok, but you know, for convenience, I actually sometimes like to put it in right in the sauce. Tablespoon of regular soy sauce, also dark soy sauce. And remember, people, not all soy sauces are created equal. When someone says, hey, the dish didn't taste quite right, what kind of soy sauce did you use? Now remember, in Chinese cooking, there are 2 main types of soy sauce. There's the regular, or what we call the light soy sauce, and then there's the dark soy sauce. Regular soy sauce is really an all-purpose soy sauce. Dark soy sauce is used to add a richness in color and deepness in flavor. Really important for marinades and for braises and things like that. And especially this beef chow mein dish, we want to have a nice dark color. We want the beef to look nice and rich. Using both of these, regular and dark soy sauce, definitely elevates your Chinese cooking, but it can also elevate your Western cooking. Sarah has a great pot roast where she uses both light and dark soy sauce. Kaitlin has a soy butter steak where she brushes the steak with a soy butter mixture, which is super delicious. And every single year at Thanksgiving, we absolutely use dark soy sauce in our turkey gravy. We'll add 1/2 teaspoon sesame oil, and we'll add some white pepper. Last but not least, we need some oyster sauce. And that is our sauce. We're at the wok now. We've got all of our ingredients set aside, but the first thing we gotta do is cook these noodles. So I've got a little water bath here, so when I take these noodles out of the wok, I can stop the cooking process, throw it in here, and then I'm gonna go over to the sink and drain them in a colander and let them dry out. Our water is boiling. We've got 8 ounces of fresh noodles. And the timer starts at 30 to 60 seconds. Now, if you're using dried noodles, it's gonna take a little bit longer, and you can follow the package directions. Okay, these noodles are ready to go. You don't wanna overcook them. 30 to 60 seconds, back out into a water bath, drain them, and then we're back into the wok. Spread these out so they get nice and dry quick. So actually, what you want to do is you want to do this earlier, so you want your noodles to dry out because you don't want them too wet, otherwise they might stick to the wok. So we pre-cooked our noodles, we let them dry, and now we're going to pre-fry these, about 2 tablespoons of oil. And make sure everything is coated, it's just starting to smoke, so we're going to put it in. Now, not all recipes call for this. You can certainly put your noodles in as they are, nice and soft, but crisping them up is really a big deal, I think. We're gonna let that cook for about a minute on the side. We were on high heat, and then we put it down to medium. Now, restaurants these days actually deep fry these noodles. Makes them crispy, yes, but it adds a lot of oil. What you wanna do is actually wanna wok fry these noodles like we're doing right here. If you have to, you can add more oil. Look at that, that's what you want. What you want to achieve here is a nice chewy noodle with a little bit of crispy mixed in.
I have to say, drying out the noodles, that extra little step makes a big difference.
Yes, you definitely don't want dripping wet noodles. So I'm going to shut the wok off at this point. Remove these back onto the plate, and now we've got a really nice texture. Don't skip this step, folks. You want to make your noodles a little chewy and a little crispy. Very important. So now we're ready to sear the beef. So I'm gonna get this wok screaming hot. Starting to smoke now. So I'm gonna add the oil, about 1.5 tablespoons or 2. Add the beef. And once you add the beef, you wanna spread this out into 1 layer. 1 layer deep, and just let it fry. After about a minute, you wanna flip the beef. And give everything a toss. And this is about 80% done. Just the way you want it. I'm gonna put it back into the old bowl, so we don't have to wash another bowl. Velveted and tender. And boy, does it smell good. Okay, next thing we want to do, leave all that nice beef goodness in there. Add the garlic, carrots, and the mushrooms. Actually, I am going to add half of the scallions. Now at this point, you can add a little bit of Shaoxing wine to deglaze the wok.
We did add it to the sauce, but it kind of needs some moisture.
Right, need a little bit of moisture to deglaze. Got all this beef flavor in here. Now I'm going to turn up the heat to high, and we're going to add these noodles. Spread the noodles out a little bit. We're going to add the beef. Oh yeah, it's a heavy beef. Heavy beef, heavy beef. This is the signature motion for cooking noodles. Lift and drop. Lift, shake, and drop. Good time to add the sauce. Now's the time to add these snow peas back. And add these bean sprouts.
The delicate vegetables get added last.
That's right. And heck, might as well add the rest of the scallions in. That dark soy sauce really adds to this dish. Now, with any noodle dish, even though these have crispies in them, if they look dry, you can always add a little bit of water. It's ready to serve. This looks great. And that is beef chow mein. Let's give this beef chow mein a taste. All right, I'm gonna make the perfect bite. Got a little bit of beef, a little bean sprout, carrot. Now that is a good beef chow mein. And you've got a full 12 ounces of beef here, which you're not gonna get that much at a restaurant, definitely. It's so good. The great thing about this recipe is that we didn't use any crazy ingredients. All the ingredients are in your basic Chinese pantry, and you can cook it in your wok at home. And if you don't have a wok, cook it in the frying pan. It'll definitely work. Very easy to make and super delicious. So if you enjoyed this video, give us a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And for the full recipe, visit us at thewalksoflife.com. Thanks to Lee Kum Kee for sponsoring this video, and thanks for watching, folks. I'm off the clock.